Boy Chike must die. Chike must be used for sacrifice, says the gods of our land.
Father, please save me. I don't want to die. Please, Father.
When the drums went silent, this is an Igbo story of pride, faith, and change. In the heart of a proud Igbo village called Umudara, where the red earth carried the footprints of the ancestors, and the air echoed with the rhythm of talking drums. There lived a man named Okoro. Okoro was not born into greatness. Okoro's father, whose name was Obina, was known for weakness. Okoro's father feared war. Okoro's father avoided hard work in his time. And Okoro's father died with debts that brought shame to his lineage. And from childhood, Okoro swore before the gods of their land that he would never become like his father Obina. And so, Okoro became everything that his father Obina was not. Okoro became strong like the Iroko tree. Okoro was feared like thunder before the storm. Okoro was respected by the elders of his village and his fellow warriors. And Okoro built his fame through wrestling. He defeated many champions from neighboring villages. Okoro owned barns full of yams. Okoro was the pride of every Igbo man, and Okoro had 3 wives and many children. And to the people of Omodara, Okoro was the living image of success. But deep inside Okoro lived a silent fear. The fear of becoming weak one day, like his father. Then there comes a boy who called Okoro father. One day, after a conflict between villages, a young boy named Chike was brought to Umudara as part of a peace settlement to Umudara. And the elders of Umudara gave Chike the boy to Okoro to raise. At first, Okoro saw Chike as nothing more than a stranger. But Chike was different from other children. Chike was gentle. Chike was wise beyond his years. Chike told stories that made Okoro's children laugh under the moonlight. Even Okoro's eldest son, Obi, who had always feared Okoro, his father, began to admire Chike. As lonely, without realizing it, Okoro's heart became softening toward Chike. After some time, Chike started calling Okoro father. And for the first time in Okoro's life, Okoro felt something unfamiliar for Chike. That thing was not pride, not strength, but he felt something different. Love for Chike. Okoro felt love for Chike. And there came the day that the oracle of their village spoke. It was one fateful evening that the village oracle delivered a message from the gods to the villagers. The oracle said to the villagers, "The boy Chike must die." Immediately, the earth seemed freeze, and many people were shocked. But the elders said that it was the will of the gods, that no one must question it. And Okoro was warned not to partake in the sacrifice. Some people said to Okoro, "Do not take part in this." They said to Okoro, "The boy calls you father." They warned him that the boy calls him father, that he should not partake in the sacrifice of using Chike. But Okoro's greatest fear rose within him immediately. And Okoro began to ask himself questions like, what would the people say if I refused to join them? Would they call me weak like my father? Okoro asked himself this question. So after everything, Okoro joined them in sacrificing Chike to their gods. Then the day of the sacrifice came, and as they led Chike into the evil forest for the sacrifice, Chike ran towards Okoro. As he was crying, Chike said to Okoro, "Father, please help me." But instead of Okoro to help him in that moment, Okoro raised his machete up and cut off Chike's head with his hand. And after the act, the man's soul became silence. And nothing was the same anymore. The laughter in Okoro's compound died instantly after the death of Chike. Obi, Okoro's son, stopped speaking to Okoro, his father. The moonlight story that was told in Okoro's compound vanished from Okoro's compound instantly. And Okoro tried to bury the pain in strength, in anger, and in control. But something inside Okoro had already broken. Then one day in that same village, the white strangers came. Not long after the white strangers arrived in Umudara's village, the strange men had skin like chalk, and they spoke a language that no one understood. They also brought a new religion, a new rules, and a new ways of life to Umudara village. At first, the villagers laughed at the strange men, but slowly things began to change. The strangers built a church for Umudara. They welcomed outcasts in Umudara, and they gave power to those who once had none. Even Okoro's son, Obina, joined them. To Okoro, it was betrayal. To the village, it was confusion. To the future, it was the beginning of the end. And there came a time when a man stands alone. Okoro burned with rage. He called for war against the strange men's religion. He wanted to drive the strangers away and restore the old ways of life in their village. But the people of Omodara had already changed to the new life and to the new religion. And the unity between the villagers and Okoro was already gone. Then their strength was divided also. The people of Omodara were afraid. And one day, during a heated village gathering, Okoro acted alone. Okoro struck the strange men. And in that moment, Okoro realized something that was terrifying. Okoro realized that no one from the village stood with him. And there came the final silence. That night, the drums of Omodara did not sound anymore. And Omodara's village woke to a heavy silence. The Okoro, the strongest man of his time, the warrior who feared weakness more than death, had chosen his own end. And Okoro was destroyed. In the end, it was not war that destroyed Okoro. It was fear. Fear of being seen as weak. Fear of change. Fear of losing control. And as the winds of change swept through Omodara, but one truth remained. When a man fights the world without understanding it, even his own strength becomes his downfall. This is the story of Okoro the warrior and Chike, his adopted boy.